Hi, everyone, and welcome back for another episode of Round Robin. I am your host, Tracy Preston, along with Regina Lindsay, Angela Sinclair, and of course, my husband, Todd Preston. Hey, everyone.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, everybody.
So, we're missing a couple girls tonight. Christine and Nina, they will not be joining us as they are on a big old boat cruising the ocean tides. So, we miss you, girls. And to be honest, I'm a little jealous.
For real, though.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. All right. So on today's show, we will be discussing the show we did in season 4, which is the tragic story of Mary Denise Lands. So here's a quick little recap. Mary Denise Lands was last seen on March 12th, 2004, after, quote, walking away from her apartment after an argument with her boyfriend, Chris Pratt. He cried the blues to the best of his ability, said he was oh so worried about her. Where could she have gone? What could have happened to her? Even though it was March, it was very cold, snowing, and the wind was gusting. Chris said that when Mary left the apartment, she was still wearing her work scrubs, slip-on shoes, and her favorite yellow bomber jacket. But if Mary was wearing her bomber jacket, why did Chris have her bomber jacket at a flea market to sell, along with many other of Mary's personal belongings, just a few towns over from where they lived in Marshall? Also, Chris said that when Mary basically just vanished out of thin air, that she also had her white purse with her. Now, Mary was known to always carry her birth certificate with her in her purse. So again, if Mary had her purse with her, how was it that he ended up with her birth certificate, of which he personally delivered to Mary's mother at her workplace? As he handed her Mary's birth certificate, he wished her a happy Mother's Day. Now, let me tell you something. I said it before and I'll say it again. If I was Mary's mother, I would have lost my ever-living mind, and I would have attacked that son of a bitch on the spot. No hesitation. I would have been a raving lunatic. I don't know how her mother kept it together. Now, we'll hash out more of the story, but as I mentioned when we did the show in season 4, this story hits close to home to Angela. So, with that being said, I'll turn this over to you, my friend.
Okay. Well, I should probably share how I met Josh. My brother and my cousin and I have a band together, and my sister-in-law's stepbrother joined us, and he was only with us for a very short while, a little over 6 months, I believe, when he was in a horrible house explosion in Marshall. And the homeowners were basically homeless. They had nothing. And though my brother and my sister-in-law took them into their home and gave them a place to stay until they could get on their feet. Well, the homeowner was Dustin, our lead guitarist, best friend. And we lost Dustin in that explosion. He fought for a long time, but lost his life in that. And Josh and I talked quite a lot, actually, and, talking about Dustin. And we talked about his mother, who I found out was Mary Denise Lands, and how much he loved her. He loved her so much, and he missed her dearly. And I told him that I remembered the day that she went missing. I had mentioned before in the episode that it just struck home to me because I was a mother of 2 very young children. And I know that her disappearance affected their family, affected Josh in such a deep way that it wrecked their lives. And coming to know the story and what happened and this guy and what he did, and I'm not going to throw out names, but police officers that didn't do their job. It truly affected this family and still affects them to this day. I won't go into details, but Josh has not had a very good time. He struggles. I haven't seen him in quite some time. And I just hope and pray that someday this guy will get his just deserves. Because I tell you what, even if it was okay, let's say it's a crime of passion, right? You get mad, you beat your girlfriend or your fiance, it goes too far. It doesn't matter because she was a mother. She was about to be a grandmother. She was a daughter. She was a sister. And that affects everybody. Own up to it. That's the thing. Own up to it. But he's a piece of shit, and this is his MO. He does it to all these women. I've read about many women who have stated that he's abusive in his relationships. And I just don't know how he keeps getting away with it. There's been so many cases that they have actually had convictions from circumstantial evidence. Why couldn't it be this guy? What did they not do? Well, they lost 2 years worth of evidence. They mishandled the vehicle. It sat outside for God knows how long, years. The bomber jacket, making her family go pick it up. Like, that's evidence. The pajama set and the bra set or the bra that was found behind the water heater in the basement, that was so mishandled on so many levels. And it's a no wonder why there has never been any convictions. It's a no wonder why they've never found her, because I truly believe that there have been people who have stood in the way and have blocked them from finding out what truly happened to her.
I wonder, Angela, so like you mentioned, and like we talked about in the story, Chris was abusive with now was he married prior?
Yes.
Okay, so he was abusive to his previous wife. I don't know the extent of it. Then we do know there was definite abuse because we have the hospital records, right, with the broken pinkies and all those typical things that happen in abusive relationships.
Yep.
Right? And then, of
Yep.
course, the young girl that he raped.
Well, he was also abusive to his girlfriend after Mary went missing. Now,
Yep.
I'm pretty sure he had charges brought up on him for that as well.
He did.
Yep.
Right? They actually went to court. Yep. Right? So, and then you've got this, I don't know, underage girl. I don't think she was even 18.
She was 16 at the time, and I think she was 19 when he finally went to court for it.
Right. I think about, and we talked about it in the episode as well, that he had called his friend in the police department, like at 1:00 in the morning. What are you calling him for? What do you need from him?
Mm-hmm.
He blamed it on her best friend, and her best friend was never even there at the bar that night.
Right, and she even, that's even documented that she said that. Nope, I wasn't there.
But now, what bar was it? Was it
The Stagecoach?
The Stagecoach, okay.
Stagecoach.
Yep. Okay. See, this story really hits with me, too, because I was a resident in Marshall for over 20 years. I was there when all this was going down. And I remember, and now I didn't know Mary, but I'd seen her on several occasions, but the whole community knew her. And everybody spoke really highly of her. I mean, she was just a really happy-go-lucky, friendly person and would do anything for anybody. And I remember, because it was every day I would have to drive to work, and I would drive around. It's a roundabout, and it's either called the Fountain or the Circle. But the whole community would be out there with signs and picketing and trying to get justice. And it was life for Marshall for years, to see this. I mean, every billboard, every poster, every store door had a poster. Where is Mary? Where is Mary? And it still affects the community today.
Right. And, when we were hanging out with our friends at the bonfire, he brought that up too.
Yeah.
He grew up in Charlotte. So it reached a lot more communities than just Marshall, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
I think about if you did that to someone, right? And however I disposed of that person, how do you still walk around town and seeing that, seeing billboards, because they had billboards,
Mm-hmm.
posters everywhere. Like, how do you even hold your head up high and walk through the community knowing that you did that?
Right. Or took place in it.
Right.
Or,
Right.
destroyed and, got rid of evidence. And just being a part of that. That's another thing. And Angela brought it up. I know that police officer on an acquaintance basis. We weren't like buddies or anything, and I heard from many people, without detail, but saying this guy is just crooked. And this was before this even happened with Mary.
Yeah, because didn't that guy come to your house?
Yeah, yeah. He had to help me because my youngest daughter got her finger caught in the door jamb and her fingers were swelling up. And we couldn't get her fingers out, so he came. He was my neighbor from across the street. He came over and helped me take the doors off the hinge.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
But did he do it because he's a good guy or because he felt obligated to do it because he was my neighbor and he heard my little girl screaming and me screaming and
You guys are screaming like banshees over there.
Right.
And I also, I mean, I didn't see anything about it, but what did they process inside of her vehicle?
Nothing that I found, and I searched. So here's another thing, like when Josh and I were talking about it, and we actually worked together, so there was a lot of nights when, he'd be working on the line and we'd talk about his mom and things like that. I spent a lot of hours digging as far as I could because I felt like I wanted to help. And if there was something that I could find, so I dug and dug, and there was nothing that I found where they processed the vehicle. Not one single thing that I found.
I just find that
And
crazy.
to me, that's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely bonkers. And the thing that completely doesn't make any sense to me, and we talked about it in the show, was that why would this woman just go out in the cold, blustery evening if she had her purse? What woman wouldn't hop in her vehicle and take off?
Mm-hmm.
Go to your
Right.
parents. Go to your friend's house. Because, see, that was
Go
the
to
other...
your parents.
Right. And that was the other thing, too, right? She had plans with her friends that night, or a friend that came over to pick her up, and he's like, oh, no, she's not going out anymore, or she's no longer available to go out.
She's not available.
Mm-hmm.
What's that mean?
Right.
So in my mind, I'm thinking, this cat put her in this van, or her SUV, I think it was an SUV. Where could he have possibly taken this woman? Someone has to know something.
And who did he contact for help trying to figure out what to do with her?
Right.
Right.
That late night call.
Yeah.
I got a sitch, bud.
And this guy's, on his deathbed right now, and I don't think he can even speak anymore.
The officer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder where Mr. Chris Pratt is these days.
I think he's still in prison.
He's in prison for
the rape, yeah.
Oh.
I do believe so.
I'll check on that right now because last time I knew he was not, but he may be there.
Yeah, because didn't the jury kind of give this girl the business because, heck, she was 16 years old, 16 or 17. She was already in some form of trouble because she was in a, some kind of a boarding house or something like that. And, this older man, befriends her, buys her things, lets her stay over, but yet she wakes up to him, molesting and then raping her. So her story changed a few times because I'm sure it was quite dramatic. Thank the gods I've never been raped, but I could not even imagine how horrible that is for women and young girls.
He was acquitted of that charge.
That's what I was thinking. So he never did. I think maybe did he do a little bit of jail time during the trial or no? Because I do feel like
Yeah.
he went to jail for.
He was released because of COVID.
Yes, that's right.
Yep, jury acquits Albion man in 2018.
Yeah, so he's out and about.
He's free and walking.
Yeah, unreal. So what do you think about this guy, Regina? What do you think could have possibly happened?
Well, I mean, I think that the answer is pretty obvious that, he did something to her, disposed of her body, but I was really thinking more about you asking, how does someone walk around town with their head up with the, posters, missing, where is she, all this stuff everywhere. But there are certain types of people that's how they relive their crime. And that's kind of the notoriety that they were looking for in the first place. To some degree, they get some kind of fucked up, satisfaction, knowing that they're in everybody's head, knowing that they're able to torture other people. Otherwise, why give her mother her birth certificate and tell her Happy Mother's Day? I'm smarter than all of you. You know I did it. I know I did it, but I'm walking around here because you can't prove it. It's not about what I did, but it's about what you can prove. And, I think it's one of those things. And I've always said about work situations, but this is kind of a similar thing. It's like there's sometimes that you show up because you really love what you do, and there are other times it's because it pisses people off, right? And you're like, yo, I'm still here, now what? And I think that's what it is. It's that whole like fuck you to everybody.
Yeah, he got it over on everyone. And thank you for bringing that up because that makes total sense, right? Reliving the crime, reveling in what he did.
I'm thinking about how many other stories that we know of that played out similarly. But where they've done this and they've done that, and the system let them through the fingertips, and they're out running around doing it again. This guy's running around again. He's going to do something again, but it's going to be too late because there's going to be another victim or many victims before he finally gets caught.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And here's another point, too, is we've talked about this in other episodes because we see it over and over and over again, victims of abuse. If you're in an abusive relationship, it will escalate. Get out because it will escalate. When she begged her family member not to tell anybody report abuse, it did not protect her. It protected him because he's still out there walking around and she is not. We know she is dead because if she wasn't, she would have contacted her family long ago because she loved them so much. So I think what really is important and a lesson for everybody is if you are being abused, look out. Nothing is worth that.
I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you that, and I can understand, the family member that worked at the hospital, she's begging them, please, no, please, no, please, no, don't say anything, don't do the whole 9 yards. But any healthcare worker should know better than that. You have to say something. And I'm sure that family member feels and felt like they made the biggest mistake by not reporting it. Why couldn't they put a circumstantial case together? The records from the hospital. I'm sure she had to have talked to her friends about what was going on. I don't know. Some people guard their personal life issues with their life. Like they're never going to talk about those things. But it just seems like, come on now, the pajamas that were found years later in a completely different house, right? Because they had an apartment the first time.
Right.
Right? So why are her pajamas stuffed down behind a water heater in a Michigan basement? Because I watched the video on that, like barehanded, the cops just going through it. Oh, look at this, dropping it in the dirt and then taking it outside, laying it in the grass and in the dirt. It's like, you've got to be kidding me, guys.
Making comments and the size, like, not really.
And I was hoping beyond all hope that Chris talked to someone else. I mean, I find it pretty amazing. I mean, just the the human psyche, it's a hard thing to keep a good secret.
Yeah, and I'm not convinced that there's somebody out there that doesn't know. Maybe they're not involved. Maybe they're not just afraid to say something. But I do want to point out to our listeners, there is a Facebook group on Facebook, of course, and it's Justice for Mary Denise Lands. If you have any information, you can go to this Facebook page and anonymously let them know what you know.
Thank you, hon. I think that's important. And any calls that you make to the Marshall Police Department, all of that can be anonymous as well.
Yeah.
So I beg you, anyone out there who knows anything about what happened to Mary, where is Mary, please say something. She has children. She has grandchildren. She has parents. Are both of her parents still living?
Her
I
mother
wonder.
passed away.
Her mother passed away, but her dad's still living. I mean, think about, what if this was your mother, right? Your sister, your daughter. Wouldn't you want to know? Wouldn't you want to bring her home? So I'm still holding out all hope that somebody could please say something. Help to bring Mary back to her family, please. I don't know what else we can say.
Yeah.
I don't know either.
It's a
This
travesty.
is so sad.
It truly is sad, and I just couldn't even... I could never put myself in that position. Luckily, that's never happened. I hope it never happens to me or anybody that I know or love. I just don't know what I'd do. So, thank you, everyone. Thank you for listening. And like I said before, if you know something, please say something. Stay anonymous. That's cool. But please help this family. So, thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming tonight. Or today when you listen. It's actually tonight when we're recording. I get a little messed up on my time sometimes. So thank you, everyone, and we will see you. Oh, by the way, what's going on, hun?
Well, tonight we also recorded our first F-Bomb Friday show.
What?
Yep.
Yeah, we did.
Yes, we did. It was fun.
It was totally fun.
Yay.
And we have new music. So Alan Hunt, the man who wrote and recorded our theme song for Malice in the Mitten, gave us another slice of paradise of music.
Gave us another little ditty.
He did give us a ditty, and it's freaking
It
awesome.
is freaking awesome.
Yeah.
He's a
Can't
great
wait
he's a
to
great
hear it.
musician, great composer, and all around great guy. Because I mean, we grew up with him. He's a cool dude.
He is a cool dude.
Yep.
Yeah. So come on Fridays and have a listen. They're short little shows, but they're fun.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. We'll have a great week. We'll see you on Friday. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.